Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us on another episode of Dawdle.live. As we all know that we have started a new series where we are trying to bring in investors and founders on the same platform. To give you an introduction, Devang has been into the investment ecosystem for a long time, has been quite renowned amongst the startup founders for the help that he has done to a lot of founders in the past. Besides, Devang is a technocrat as well. So he understands technology. Talking about Deepti, she's building something very innovative in the space of fitness, health, and all that. But why should I introduce? I think the best guys to introduce themselves will be they themselves because they're doing some fabulous stuff. Over to you, Deepti, if you could start it.
Sure, sure. First of all, thank you so much, Rishikesh, for having me. And it's so good to meet you, Devang. I think we've spoken once before, but it's a great platform. I really appreciate the opportunity. And for everybody, I'm Deepti Gupta. I'm founder and CEO of Fitreat. It is a curated marketplace for health and fitness, and we're trying to bridge the gap of not having a niche fitness store in India as of now, and helping the amazing D2C brands get a platform to expand their sales and also make it convenient for our fitness enthusiasts and consumers who are trying to, navigate through their journeys through a fragmented market and abundant choices. So yes, that's what we are trying to do, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deepti. Nicely explained. Sir, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Rishikesh. Nice to meet you, Deepti, again. Thanks, Rishikesh, for having me back on the platform. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and the founders that you bring to the platform. I think you covered most of it, but I'm an advisor to early stage companies as well as to venture capital funds. I typically help early stage fund companies in capital raises, right from the concept stage to Series A, Series B. That's the happy hunting ground. And I'm advising a couple of venture capital funds on strategy, exits, and things like that. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much. So, we'll start with, Deepti, if you could take us through, the business that you're building and the important challenges that you're solving for the ecosystem.
I come from a marketing and brand building background. I worked for different organizations for over a decade, helping them grow their brand and, helping them with content marketing per se. I think I realized this gap sort of last year. Of course, fitness is growing in India massively right now. The space is amazing, it's exciting, but I definitely saw that a lot of brands are coming up with amazing products in India, and they're solving a lot of issues that people have, finding the right product for them in their fitness or health journey. And after COVID, I think everybody has become consciously, getting into changing their lifestyle or making some adjustments in their health routine. I think it's no more just impulsive, it's more conscious, bringing some elements in some part of their routine somewhere or the other, and which is a great, you know time to be in this business, I feel. And it's only just started in India. I feel it's going to go a long, long way, and it's going to get crazier out there, which is why I felt that despite such a big market and despite so many D2C brands and product problems already being solved, I felt that there still was missing a unified platform which could bring all these D2C brands and these enthusiasts together at one place, build a community of trust, and also sort of help both parties. I think that was still missing. There are a lot of brands who are solving one part of the problem or are sort of fetching one leg, but are not completely looking at the entire space as one whole community. And I think that's where I saw that gap, and I felt it's no better time to be in this space and in this market. And there's no better business that I want to build in this markets, which is why I think a marketplace felt right. It was a great opportunity. We do have a first mover advantage. There is no other platform like ours right now. And I wanted to hop on this opportunity as early as possible. So that's how we started building this business. But talking about the challenges, of course, like I said as well, there are already brands in existence. There are marketplaces in existence. There are, of course, bigger giants that are already sort of that do have these brands on their platform. Of course, it's not a niche category for them. They're solving everything and sort of selling everything. It's a sea of products, and which is why it's confusing for consumers as well. But however, they are bigger giants. It's hard to compete with them. And with quick commerce in play, it gets even tougher and trickier. So of course, these are the challenges that we haven't even solved yet. We're still working on it, but we do identify them, and we want to make sure that we position ourselves in a way that we do not have to get into this battle overall, and we can position Fitreek as a community trust based platform where it's reliable for consumers to find credible brands and brands to grow with us. That's a challenge that we're trying to solve for sure.
Devang, if you have any devil's advocate question.
Yeah, I have one question. So, my experience has been is that customers in India are notoriously price sensitive and have low brand loyalty. So, how do you control churn?
That's a great question. Of course, price wars are hard to get into, but I think I realized this very early on that if we want to grow Fitreek, heavy discounts is not just the way to do it. I mean, it's definitely good for short term engagement or getting traffic on board in the early stage, but it's not how we want to position our brand, or it's not even the way how you get retention in the long term. So I feel for Fitreek, we have been conscious about this from the start, that we do not want to become the cheapest platform of India, but we do want to become the most useful platform of India, where fitness enthusiasts can get what they need. Also, getting the right product recommendations, uh, giving them the fitness storytelling, the right choices, what they want, what they need at the right stage there. It has been a conscious choice from the beginning that we do not want to get into this price war. We have to choose our battles. And one, that's not how I want to position the brand. I want to position in terms of reliability, community building and trust through giving them the right product choices, right fitness storytelling, right community driven market, rather than just providing them with heavy discounts and losing them in the long term. So I think long term retention is more important for us than short term growth. That is why on our platform also, we haven't been obsessive about, oh, we're not cheaper than the other platforms. What do we do about it? I think we want to let the consumers know that despite it being at par with the other places, we are also solving what other places are not solving, and we are giving them reliability and the best brands possible. And that's how we're trying to not get into the price war at all.
Okay, nice. So, what is your customer acquisition cost, both on the consumer side as well as on the brand side, and how do you optimize that?
Sure. It'll be shocker, but right now our CAC is about 30 to 35%, which is
Okay.
not that bad for an early stage brand. Of course, we want to get better at this, and especially in the marketplace segment, if we compete with our other marketplaces in their early times, it's not bad at all. However, we do want to optimize it further. We want to work on community driven content based marketing going forward, so that not only it reduces our CAC but also creates compounding brand value
Mhm.
going forward. So that's definitely one space that we are aggressively looking at. We want to focus on content marketing, affiliate partnerships, and partner with fitness related collaborators to increase our brand visibility and in turn reduce our CAC. So that's one way that we're looking at it.
Thing is, yes, go ahead, please.
So, Deepti, if I understood it correctly, like it's kind of a marketplace for fitness brands. Like,
Right. Fitness, health, and wellness overall. Yes.
yes. So I kind of, wanted to understand from Devang, like since you have seen a lot of, such kind of marketplace, what do you think, Devang, are the initial challenges with these kind of startups face? And what should be their, go-to market strategy?
Yes, I think the good thing is, of course, it intersects with the consumer space in India, which we all know is pretty much one of the pillars driving the whole country's GDP. So the moment you intersect with the consumer space, you're in a addressable market that is likely to be pretty large. And then with the wealth effect in the country, there's increasing thought and time being given to health. which was hitherto not the case in the previous generation, I say, because people were just too busy, frankly, to give more than a basic thought to health and fitness and customizable health solutions. So I think it's the right time, right place. It's a crowded market for sure. So I think customer acquisition and retention remains the biggest problem. I think just as a segue to my question, I think one needs to create a lot of stickiness around your brand, around your website, around your channels. Content marketing is of course great. People should look at you as the first one-stop shop for
Yeah.
anything health related and health and fitness related. I think players that crack that code will have non-linear growth.
Yes, totally. Only that, Devang, there are no other players. It's only going to be Fitreak. But yeah, I agree. I think, of course, creating brand value is very, very important for us. Also, helping customers understand why we are doing what we're doing, what are we solving different from other marketplaces is important for them to realize in the long term. And that's what we're trying to do. And also, if you see, we want to capture the largest wallet share of a consumer. Since we are going to provide so many categories at one place, which anyways makes us stand out from the other D2C brands, because they're going to solve or like provide one or two categories or product choices, among customers' needs or requirements, which only captures 10 to 20% of their wallet share. Whereas we intend to capture the 100% of a consumer's wallet share, which again, in turn, will, increase our average order value and reduce our CAC going forward. So it is just the beginning, but yeah, we see it going good forward.
That's great. I've also seen that sometimes buzzy names do well than others. It's just a function of having the right catchy phrase that defines your company. So, what process went into Fitreak?
I think it's as simple as it sounds. In the process of finding out a name, I did start with finding out buzzy words or controversial words or something that would relate to Gen Z audience or would be fun to call out, it's
Right.
cool and all of that. We did come up with a few names which were very exciting, and we were like, this will be disruptive and all of that. But I think I also realized that for a brand like this, for a marketplace, it's more important that it's simple, it's usable, it's understandable to every single consumer who's coming to the platform. It says out loud what we're trying to do, rather than create a name which is disruptive but doesn't really identify or tells our story as straight. Even if you do inspiration from other marketplaces, even if you talk about Amazon, right, it's a unique word, but they also define it's A to Z, right? You get everything at one place. So it's not really a buzzword, but they have made an amazing brand recall around it. Similarly, Mintra, again, Nika, if you see, also it's a simple Hindi word that is around beauty. I feel, which is why then I came down to the fact that it's fun and all to have buzzy words, but it might be more appropriate to have them for your product brand or maybe a private label going forward. But I think for a marketplace which is going to expand into very different horizons going forward, and could have the capability of become more than what it is today, we need to keep the gates open. We need to not keep it restrictive, which is why it was Simple Fitness Freak, which became Fitreak,
Fitreak.
and we got the domain as well .com. So I think it was a win-win in the end.
Yeah,
Very
now I
nice.
understood. Fitness Freak became Fitreak.
Freak, yes, correct.
What are the risks involved?
Everything is a risk. I think every day is a risk.
What may go wrong that, maybe, can be a setback to the business?
Going wrong, I think if you were to say anything could go wrong any day, but things like, for example, what dreads me sometimes is one that, of course, there are bigger giants in the play, and there are marketplaces in the supplement and nutrition category already established in the market. They could one day get up and think about expanding their marketplace into other categories, and they could create something like this in a couple of months, maybe, if they want to. If they have the funds, they have the resources and everything. So I think that's definitely one risk. But again, there are a lot of risks. What if consumers don't find the value in it? Of course, quick commerce growing at this pace, what if everything that we are trying to solve through our platform becomes readily available through quick commerce? However, these risks and challenges are going to be there forever, or even with coming times, there will be risks that right now I do not see, but probably I will start seeing as in when I get closer to them. But however, I have conviction in what I'm building, and I also know that despite the quick commerces, despite the bigger giants, I know that they have not panned into this space consciously till now. Even brands like Healthlife, I know what they're building is very, very different from what I'm trying to build. And they've consciously stayed away from this space and expanding in a different horizon, which is very like fortunate for us. And yeah, which is why I feel if they wanted to, they could have gotten into the space well before, you know, I had thought of it as well. So I think the fact that they have not gives me that leverage and opportunity. And also, quick commerce is an emergency necessity based, business. It might grow into various categories. They're trying to provide everything as much as possible. Again, the shelf space, the dark stores, there will always be restrictiveness around how much can they provide into a certain area. Can they provide thousands of SKUs of a single product through, through their dark stores? Is it possible in going forward? Anything might be, but right now it seems little far-fetched, which is why we still have time to grow in the space. And I feel everybody, despite so many brands, everybody has their own space to exist and they're growing in their spaces. So I think we will have our own opportunity as well.
One of the things that Devang, what I believe is that they will be playing with with a bigger basket size, because everything fitness related can be available there. And the second thing, what I feel can be a problem is the demand predictability, because a lot of these quick commerce platform, they have to manage the inventory, and when it comes to fitness related products, the demand predictability is a big challenge. What do you think, Devang?
Yeah, it can be because, let's put it this way, it's not a standardized market, right? In today's era, health cannot be standardized. It used to be maybe before. Everyone had the same diet or similar diets and all that. Now we're all asking for customization at every level. So people might view the side Fitreak as just for one like an episodic purchase where you had a sprain or some injury or something and you need quick relief, or you might see it as an ongoing way to keep weight in control or certain ailments in check. So yes, I mean, it's going to be a fairly heterogenized demand for products and services from the platform. And I think if they, Fitreak or players like that should definitely try and offer longer term solutions or offerings or products that look at a situation more holistically. It's a great business, of course, lesser churn because average order value is higher, and then there's need to keep coming back to the platform and all that. But it's also the need of the hour. So it's a good melding of interests.
Deepti, have you thought about partnerships with, say, gyms or something like that?
Yeah, we're already working on it. That's definitely part of our GTM strategy. We are sort of right now in the process of partnering with gyms, health studios, yoga studios, Pilates. We're starting from metro cities first, and then, of course, going back to tier two cities. That's one way to look at it. We also want to, going forward, collaborate with all of these amazing health clubs in metro cities who are sort of letting people participate in activities in marathons. Rocks, for example, is a great buzz right now. I think these are great platforms and opportunities for us to reach our target audience, let the world know that there's a platform where in turn you can come back and find everything that you need. And I think a perfect way to, just launch our brand. So that's in our GTM strategy. And
Yeah, Devang, over to you.
So the other question I had is, I think next gen businesses will, by definition, have to be AI first or AI heavy, if not AI first. So what are your plans for that moving forward?
That's absolutely right. I think consumers are becoming more and more inclined or say AI literate in today's time. And I feel I had already planned this way ahead. I knew that this was, I think AI has been in in town for a quite bit of time, and all sort of brands are trying to adopt it in some way or the other. We had already planned because we would need AI in product recommendations, in efficiency, in just getting to know what our consumers need at what time. And I think which is why we have a core feature called Fitreak AI, which is again a tool where consumers can ask questions. They can find out what's right for them in their journey, in their fitness goal, what would they require depending upon what they want to achieve. And in turn, also after that, give them product recommendations based on their habits and choices and goals. And which is why Fitreak AI is going to be their personal fitness shopping assistants. And that's what we want to build. It's an early stage right now. We're still testing it out, but it is going to be the core feature of Fitreak. Like I said in the beginning, I do not want to make it just an e-commerce platform or another marketplace. I want to make sure it's community driven. I want to make sure that people are not just shopping here, but also finding solutions on what they might need in their journey. So they can ask us, hey, I've just started my fitness journey. I'm in so and so phase, or I do a couple of activities. I go to gym 3 times a week. I go to running. What could be the best products that I could use? So we are not just helping them with what should be their goal like, or what should be their product choices like, but also giving them the best products at the same place. So we're trying to solve it holistically, not in terms of, in terms of giving them advices on their health plans or giving them coaching or something like that, but more in terms of advising them on what is best for their shopping needs according to their goals. So, like a personal shopper, all in all. So, that's where we want to use AI the most. And I think it's going to be very, very helpful as well.
Great. And one last question. Do you have a co-founder?
Yes, I do have a co founder. His name is Arth Gupta. He comes from a very complementary background. He helps me with technology and operations while I handle marketing and brand building. And he's a young, passionate founder with amazing talent. So, yeah, I do have him.
So what mechanisms do you use for conflict resolution? Because I'm sure even though your skills are complementary, there's bound to be intersection points, right? In a small company like Fitreak.
Of course, there are always disagreements in every company. I think it's more so in the interest of the brand than for our egos. And I think the best part about us working together is that he's my younger brother.
Okay.
So, despite whatever, we do, sort of come
Then
back.
Deepti would have been like, Bol mat, chat.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we have been resolving conflict all our years, all our life, and we do that every day. Fitreak or not fitreak, even at our house. So it's always like we fight and we come back in an hour in the same room talking about random stuff, forgetting about what we actually fought on. So I think that's definitely an advantage for us. But other than that, we are both very passionate about growing Fitreak and scaling it together. Despite what the reason is for disagreement, I think we come to terms on what's best for our consumers and what's best for our platform to grow. So it's based on data and not ego for sure. He's way too young to have ego with me. So I think that's definitely a win-win. But overall, yeah, it has been good so far. And I think, like I said, it's an advantage that we're siblings. So in future also, I think we will manage it pretty well.
Fantastic.
And Devang, since they're looking to raise funds, if you could kind of maybe talk a little bit about what is required for them so that they can raise funds.
Yeah, it's back to the first principles of life and funding. Good product market fit that can be proved. So, initial traction, nothing works better than initial traction and evidence of growing traction. Good complementary team, which is the case here. One business focused co-founder, one tech focused. That's done. I think evidence of doing this in the past before Fitreak, in your marketing roles, Deepti, or in his tech roles, if he has shown the ability to build a scalable technology product that can serve millions of customers, and in your case, marketing campaigns or sales strategies that have garnered millions of customers, evidence of that is definitely helpful for investors. But the key skill is selling. By selling, I just don't mean selling to a brand or a consumer. You have to sell the story to anyone and everyone, especially investors, but investors also are like VCs, angels, friends and family. You have to sell the story to early employees, will join you at industry packages in promise of making money in the future. You have to sell it to interns, these days who have a lot of choices for internships in the startup ecosystem, given the way the whole industry is burgeoning. A founder has to be, and this includes a tech co-founder also, not just just good at selling the story, selling the vision. Ones that are adept at that will succeed. Now, specifically to the fundraise, I always believe the first round should be the easiest, friends and family. So definitely reach out to people that have known you for a long time. Ones that are usually forgiving of mistakes. They won't look at your projections and fine tune it to the second decimal point, or the product roadmap. They'll fund you because they believe you have the ability to grow a scalable consumer business in India. Then you go outside of that circle for the next round, which is a seed round, usually by angels or seed VCs. That gets a bit harder. So you have to be uber networked in the industry. Friends, alumni, LinkedIn contacts, conferences, bankers in some cases. You just need to reach a lot of people to find a set of investors that truly believe in you and are aligned with your vision. So those are the first two rounds, friends, family, and then the seed round. And then, then you have to grow in a certain way to be attractive to a Series A investor, but that's down the road. So at this point, angels and seed investors are the ones that you should be trying to target and get your initial checks from.
I'm, of course, grateful for your advice, and we are trying our best. We have just recently started getting into the process. It's been 3 months that we've been in the market. We have definitely served over 1,000 customers already with a good GMV as of now. So I think we have achieved early traction. Now we want to get into the scaling part of it. So yeah, I think it's definitely a tough process, but we're excited for it. And I think, Devang, you should be the first one to give me a check.
Sure, let's talk offline.
Thanks so much, Deepti, and thanks so much, Devang, for joining us on this show. And looking forward to be in touch. And wish you all the best, Deepti. Always, a pleasure to be talking to founders like you. It also inspires me as well. And thanks so much, Devang, for joining us again with your insights, taking out time to guide us and talk a lot of things related to the investment ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you.